Hello and welcome back to Belfast. Surprise, surprise, this episode's actually out on time for the second week in a row, which is completely unheard of, so I definitely think I deserve an award or a pat on the back for that. This week's episode's slightly different. It's a chat with one of my friends, Clíona McCarney, who's very involved in politics in Northern Ireland, but I came up with this concept just over the past couple of weeks. Thought it'd be interesting after having a chat with a taxi driver on the way back from Royal Hospital. I was talking to him about politics, which I always seem to get involved with when I'm chatting with taxi drivers. But I thought it'd be a really good idea to get in the car and pick up someone and just have a chat about politics and just drive around Belfast. And I think it sounds pretty good, and I hope you like the concept, but I'll not speak any further. Here's my chat with Cliona McCarney that I recorded today. Okay, so something a bit different this week. I'm driving around rainy East Belfast, so you probably won't be able to hear me, or
hear the rain in the background.
Yeah, or you'll hear my window wipers going, but I'm here with Cliona McCarney, who is one of my friends, unfortunately. No, I'm joking.
Nice. We're off to a good start here.
You call yourself a political activist?
Yes.
Or she basically talks a lot of
Talks
stuff
a lot anyway. That's
on
sort of
Twitter,
what I'm known for. Mm-hmm.
Something a bit different, and it's going to be about politics, so if you don't like politics, you may as well turn it off right now.
This is not for you, yeah.
Or if you want something lighthearted to keep you going during the week, this is also probably not for you.
No, go on Netflix, because this will not help you.
So, you were at the DUP party conference over the weekend?
I was there with work, and it was very interesting, is one word for it anyway. Obviously, in the context of everything that's happening with Brexit, the DUP, sort of all eyes are on them, and that was very much reflected both by the attendance of the conference, but also the huge levels of media that were there, not just the Northern Irish ones, but media from across the UK and across the globe really as well. So everyone was sort of wondering what the DUP were going to tell their base and what they were going to say. So as you probably saw, not terribly surprising, they really, doubled down on the message to the Prime Minister that they would not be backing her Brexit deal. They had Philip Hammond, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, on Friday night at their dinner. Now I don't think there's a transcript released of what he said, but from what I heard from people I know that were there, he was sort of sent over to try and get them to back the deal, which...
Yeah, I find it weird that he was there, because he was a backer of it, and obviously, the Chancellor is the one that's...
Yeah, well, I suppose he was trying to encourage them to do it, although he obviously didn't have much success in that. Probably a pretty unenviable task. And then, for something completely different the next day...
That's the police not chasing us.
No, standard Northern Ireland police about. And Boris-Johnson was obviously the guest speaker yesterday. So seeing him speak in person was certainly a very interesting experience. He was incredibly well received by the delegates in the room.
He's like a multi-bar kid who's let himself go.
He's like a big sort of erratic child almost. Even his movements and the way he speaks, he's just quite. It's almost like there are 5 million thoughts going on in his head. But I mean, the DUP audience absolutely loved him. He was introduced as the man who put Ballymena buses in London, and almost deafened me, the cheers and the applause. So he, as is not surprising, really agreed with the DUP and that the deal was bad for the union and all that sort of stuff. But probably again, not surprisingly, he didn't really have an alternative plan, in my opinion. I don't know what he would be doing if he was the Prime Minister.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense if they're going to get rid of the Prime Minister now, and then what's the next deal? We're just driving past. What's this? Brexit okay?
Brexit okay.
So yeah, we're in East Belfast here.
People of East Belfast support Brexit.
Yeah,
can't confirm.
So much so that they are spray painting on a nice white wall in red saying Brexit okay. So.
So
it's
I don't really know if I agree with that assertion that Brexit is okay. I think it's probably
I don't think anybody
a wee
thinks
bit less
Brexit's
than okay.
I don't even think people who voted for Brexit think it's okay.
No. I think the point you just made though is absolutely right, in that there's a reason why they might all be, Rees-Mogg and Boris and all those ones might be attacking the Prime Minister, but they're not actually trying to challenge her, incredibly, because they don't think
nobody's
that they
putting
would do
themselves
any
forward
better.
either.
Exactly. It's
like
it's
a
in
poison
an
chalice.
enviable position. It's very, very, very hard, especially when she is reliant on the 10 DUP votes in Westminster. So,
like, how's that? Even if, say, there is a new deal and the DUP get on board again, like, I don't know how that relationship can be mended.
salvaged,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
because the DUP have been coming out and slandering her, and I'm sure the reason obviously for getting Boris over as well was to put a bit of pressure on. But I think Theresa May, over the past couple of weeks, she had an article in the Belfast Telegraph saying something about, it was either Belfast Telegraph or the newsletter, she had done an article for, saying how the deal was good for Northern Ireland and how people are going to benefit. It says a lot when the DUP are against it, but you have people like Nicola Sturgeon who are almost jealous that Northern Ireland's getting this deal.
Absolutely, and you only have to look at really how many business leaders spoke out this week and said that the deal was good for Northern Ireland. I think my own personal view, I suppose, is that there isn't a good version of Brexit. There's going to be pain regardless, but if this is, I don't think the Prime Minister's going to get a better deal. I don't think the EU are going to make any more concessions, and to be fair, why would they? So I suppose if I was an MP, which obviously I'm not, thank God, I would probably back the deal on that basis. But there's been an interesting amount of chat on the whole concept of a people's vote recently, and putting the final, well, obviously we've got the final deal, but putting the final deal to the people and maybe having 3 options. So Prime Minister's deal, a no deal Brexit, or to remain in the EU. Do you think that will go down well, or?
I don't know. Even I feel a bit I obviously voted the rain and everything and helped campaign to stay, but I kind of feel that having another vote, it's an awkward one, because obviously we had the referendum and stuff, but 90% of that, or a high percentage of that, was because the vote may have been because people were telling lies, putting stuff on buses and
350 million for the NHS, which
stuff like that. Yeah, so I don't think the campaign was completely fair in that regard, but I know, I think we're nearly past the point, and I can't see them getting a vote in, or some sort of referendum to sign off the deal in this short time.
Well, that's it. The timeline is crucial. It's a month before Christmas, and everything shuts down a little bit before Christmas, and then we leave on the 29th of March. So getting a referendum and building the referendum campaign in that time is probably nearly impossible. So I don't know, but I think regardless of any of that, I don't know how, looking at the makeup of the House of Commons, the Prime Minister gets this deal through. She was sort of relying on Labour to sort of pull her out of the hole, and Labour rebels, and I don't think that enough of them will rebel and vote for the deal. So
there's a good tweet I seen, I can't remember who put it up, but it was some guy who had voted to remain. He was like, people aren't enjoying saying we told you so.
Yeah.
Because we actually want, if Brexit is going to happen, you want Brexit to be like as beneficial as it can, because we're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
It's not like people who voted to remain want, it's okay, that just let the UK burn now, because,
I told
just
you
as
so,
I told you so. So like, part of me is like, right, we nearly need to just double down now and try and get a good deal. But like you said, the deal isn't going to be as good as being a member of the EU.
No,
it's
not.
That's the like I said in my last podcast, it was like the people were sold like a unicorn, now they're getting like a donkey. So
yeah, it's a good way of
you can't be surprised, because you can't have all the benefits of the EU and not be a member. That's kind of the whole point of the membership.
It is interesting though, from the DUP perspective, I suppose, is that I saw a tweet, and I'm not repeating it all because there's some very bad language in it, but it basically said, I'm listening to Arlene-Foster on TV, and if I'm getting this right, she seems to be saying, we want a deal that it is Northern Ireland's getting a better deal than anybody else in the UK, and we're not having it until our deal is as crap as theirs. Yeah. And I think that that's pretty much right, in that most people generally do recognise that we share a land border with an EU country in the south, and we're also a post-conflict society, so we're 45% of people here identify as Irish, so it's pretty reasonable that we get special circumstances, and it's odd to me that the DUP would, it seems quite churlish of them to refuse what is objectively a good deal for Northern Ireland.
Yeah, because it's nearly like their love of the union and everything is just superseding common sense.
Yeah.
The whole business community basically just came out and said that they support the deal Northern Ireland's getting. Like, a business, the whole point of a business is to make money, and if they're saying that they're going to make more money, or be it an advantage, then how can you come out and say that? I think Arlene-Foster or one of the DP came out and said they were disappointed by it, and then they're just getting interviews or meetings with token business leaders saying, this business owner doesn't want it to happen. And like,
yes, but all the others do. I think that's it, and I think the DUP are probably disappointed that the business community made their voices heard so much, and actually what's probably not getting enough coverage is that actually 90% of a CO3 representative body for the community sector did a poll of their members, and 90% of the charity sector support the deal as well. So it's not just the business community that are behind it, and I think most people in Northern Ireland obviously voted to remain, but I think most people do think this is better. It's not perfect, of course it's not perfect, but it's certainly better than nothing. And it is interesting, obviously they don't support the deal in the name of preserving the union, which is fair enough, they're a unionist party, but for me at the end of the day, I am a nationalist, but I still can't see anything more destabilising to the union than a hard border on the island of Ireland. How that will, I think, push liberal unionists towards supporting United Ireland to get back in the EU and the benefits that brings. So
what's
it's
interesting
not very
as well,
strategic.
It's like nearly ironic and like paradoxical that the DUP are against the hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic, for obvious reasons, because you don't want to cause issues like that, but then again they're against the backstop. And it's just strange that the DP, whose the whole thing is the precious union and everything, like their actions are probably going to, they've probably made more progress towards the United Ireland than Sinn-fein have probably in the last decade, I'd say.
I completely agree, because I think pre-Brexit, really, like, we had government in Northern Ireland. It absolutely wasn't perfect, but generally most people had a reasonably good standard of living. The parties were all working together. Everything, to me, was a little bit settled. People were content, maybe even, I would maybe go so far as to say complacent. They didn't think about, well, for me anyway, as a nationalist, United Ireland wasn't top of my agenda.